Noel Brown, also known as Noel Be Hungry, is an American fighting game player that participated in Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom tournaments, but his behavior at events overshadowed his presence in the FGC. Getting into a fight with Smooth Viper at a Vanilla Marvel 3 tournament, allegedly hitting his ex-girlfriend after catching her in a hotel room with another player, and groping a girl at CEO 2016 claiming that, "We were just playing around as you can tell, and she clearly laughed in the video after it happened. Of course people will blow this out of proportion." Actually, all three of us drank and ate pizza together that night after seeing the screenshot.
Personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Kristen Neal, aka Krissy Victory, is a lewd model, actress, cosplayer, and a baddie maniac pixie dream girl that also has an OnlyFans. In her statement, she mentions how she's been silent due to her being villainized and how the narrative flipped on her once she started to speak out. She also makes it very clear her relationship with Mr. Brown was a friendship and nothing else. The conversations they had prior to the incident support this since they give off a playful, flirty vibe while keeping their relationship platonic. When reaching out to everyone involved, Krissy was the only person to respond to me and be open to interview. However, when it came time to schedule an interview, she never responded. Before jumping into the story, everybody should know the people involved. Krissy Victory, the alleged victim, Noel Brown, the alleged assaulter, Ryan, Noel's friend Krissy had a crush on at the time, Krissy's redacted friend from her story who I'll label as John Doe, Archangel, Krissy's former friend that allegedly spread rumors, PB&J, a third party that also allegedly spread rumors. Now with all of that out of the way, here's my retelling of what took place. On October 7th, 2017, Krissy flew out to New York to attend Comicon but had to cancel her flight due to a funeral. She flies out after it's over to meet up with her best friend John. Noticing there is a sonic boombox party in the area she was in, she decides to attend the party and invite Noel based on the good praise she heard about him through FGC mutuals. Krissy asks John to be on lookout while she enjoys herself at the party. Noel and Krissy take shots and mingle until the venue starts closing and people are getting kicked out. They both try to find John, but he's not answering his phone and is nowhere to be found. Krissy asks if she could stay with Noel for the night. He agrees, but before they leave, they have to use the bathroom. Security lets the pair know there's one upstairs they could both use. So Noel goes in first, then Krissy goes in after he's done. This is where the first alleged assault takes place. He comes out and waves me over. Confused by what he's asking, I come closer asking him what was up. I don't understand what he's asking. I am drunk. He pulls me into the bathroom, closes the door, pulls down my pants, and starts penetrating me unprotected. It happened so fast I didn't realize he was even having sex with me until I looked in the mirror. I was so confused and distraught that it went from a harmless bathroom discussion to unwarranted sex in the bathroom unprotected. Eventually, someone knocks on the door. He gets interrupted, he puts his pants back on and leaves. Everyone who saw me knew I was wasted and he took advantage of that during the closing of the venue. The door opens and she asked me where is everyone and kind of peeked around. Then we made out before stepping into the bathroom and continuing. She began to perform oral sex before we actually started having intercourse, but we stopped pretty fast out of fear of getting caught by the security guard that let us up. We then proceed to leave to get food. In both stories, things stop before they get caught by security, so they go out to eat. After spending some time at the restaurant, they leave, and unfortunately, she leaves her phone in the lift on the way back to Noel's home. The next morning is where the second alleged assault takes place. I woke up in New Jersey on a bed to Noel on top of me. I am mortified and confused on how I even got there. He never said anything to me, he just did stuff. He never asked anything. I let him finish what he was doing to me, thinking I could just grab my phone. So I was stuck in the house with no contact with my friend on a bed with a man who just assaulted me twice in less than 24 hours. So I asked Noel why he had sex with me. He stated, because my friend had slept with you. She wakes me up the next morning asking me if I saw her phone, and we proceed to look for it around the room and the house for about 20 minutes. After we couldn't find it, I messaged Lyft to get in contact with the driver. During the time we were waiting, we proceeded to have sex again, with her even on top at one point and asking me to finish in her mouth. Miss Neal messages John via Messenger to pick her up. Then he arrives after some time via Uber and they get back to the hotel. Krissy continues talking to Noel for the Lyft driver information to get her phone back, then blocked him once she got the information. A few days before Twitchcon, Noel gets a call from Ryan asking if he had sex with Krissy. He told Ryan yes and asked him how he knew since he didn't tell anyone. It turns out, Krissy told Ryan that Noel raped her and Ryan asked for his version of events. Krissy confides in her friend at the time, Archangel, telling him about the incident and how she went to the doctor and got an STD test, pregnancy test, and a rape kit. Just a little bit after telling Archangel what happened, Archangel began spreading rumors such as Krissy being pregnant and how she was financially exploiting two well-known FGC members at the time. According to Miss Victory, due to her reputation of being a slut, it was easy for everyone to believe the rumors, causing her to stay silent about the whole ordeal, with PB&J and Archangel being the biggest perpetrators that pushed her into silence. Krissy ends her story saying she was raped by a man she barely knew and that the FGC tried to cover it up, while Noel speaks about seeking legal counsel in his story, going on to say that if these events are true, the information should be enough to start an investigation. Just a day after Krissy posted her Twitlonger, Noel released his own containing two sets of screenshots. One contained his DMs with Krissy prior to and after the incident, which don't have much to speak about, while the other DMs with Ryan and Krissy supposedly exposed her lying about the entire situation. Public opinion quickly swayed in his favor, with many people supporting Noel's claim that Krissy Victory lied about the alleged assault. But I don't think anyone took the time to read these chats at all.
Read, nigga, read!
I want you to imagine this scenario. Somebody you know reveals to you they lied about being raped by your friend. Out of the many emotions you'd feel when hearing this news break, I don't think anyone's response to something this serious would be, "This is something small, don't commit suicide over this." That makes zero fucking sense. Time was starting to run out. Krissy had to release something that went against Noel's claims in order to please the online mob, because if she didn't, that meant she had to be hiding and not taking the time to gather any evidence she needed to debunk Noel's claims of her lying. Because we all know that once an allegation drops, you need to have a document made ahead of time just so you can debunk any allegations made against you. Just before the kangaroo court handed Krissy a guilty sentence, she posted her second Twitlonger 8 days later. In this Twitlonger, she gave context to the conversations with her and Ryan. These chats line up with the ones Noel presented in his statement relating to the rumors Ryan heard at Twitchcon and the lie Noel Brown highlighted in his Twitlonger. I didn't understand or know why Ryan was so upset with me. During this conversation, Ryan persistently asked me if anyone else knew about me being raped. I lied and told him no one else knew. He confronted me by saying this wasn't in fact true because Archangel did know. Ryan insisted I lied about not admitting I told Archangel, and this is what led to our entire conversation. These are the screenshots Noel posted without any context. I openly admit to Ryan my biggest flaw is hiding information from people. I hid Archangel knowing about my rape experience from Ryan because I didn't think it was important. What was important to Ryan was who knew about it. And if any more clarification is needed, here's another picture that shows Krissy telling another friend what she lied about. Keep in mind, this is supposed to be the big lie Noel Brown showed in his response that's supposed to make everyone realize she lied about the alleged assault. The conversations with Ryan continued until the 30th of October, and Krissy finds out Ryan unfollowed her on Twitter. Ryan responds one last time on the 4th of February, and their conversations end there until December of the same year. Miss Victory was willing to speak about the details of what happened with Ryan, but Ryan wanted to keep things in the past and leave it be. Ryan sends another message offering Krissy to hang out with friends. From what was shown in the Twitlonger, that's the last set of messages they shared with each other.
I was flipping bricks for Mansa Musa before y'all even became a Type 1 civilization.
In her first Twitlonger, Miss Neal mentions that she was so drunk, inebriated, I am drunk, and super drunk, which aren't the best measures of how intoxicated someone is, and she never stated she was blackout drunk. Noel could have been drunk or buzzed as well, since he was taking shots at the party and ordering ride shares for transportation. Once the venue started closing, everyone was leaving, including her best friend, which leads into my next question. John was supposed to be on the lookout for Krissy, but magically disappeared when the venue started to close. In his story, Noel mentioned she had a hotel room, so first of all, where did he go and why? And second of all, why didn't he try to find her to take her back to the hotel room so she could be safe? John knew she was drunk because again, she asked him to keep watch while she went off to party. And in both stories, they couldn't even find him. It was John's responsibility to keep tabs on Krissy's whereabouts while she got drunk at that party. Something way worse than sexual assault could have happened. Although she never mentioned this in her story, I have to ask, did John check up on her after meeting up the next morning? Maybe she didn't want to talk about it, and that's completely fine. Not a lot of people want to recount traumatic events, I get it, but you lose your friend for an entire night, have no idea where she is, don't see her until the next morning, and he's not a little bit on edge? Once again, she never said anything about John being worried about how she was or where she was, and I feel as though a lot of this would have been prevented if he were a more responsible friend. The events at the restaurant in Krissy's story conflict with Noel's version. Noel takes me with him to his lift. He then takes me to a restaurant and I barely eat anything because I was so drunk. He then orders another lift and I leave my phone in the car by accident. Honestly, I vaguely remember fully going to the lift or restaurant the second time. We were there for about 45 minutes, eating, talking, taking pictures, and she was on her phone throughout this time. At one point, she asked me to take a picture of her with my glasses on, so I sent it to her in Messenger. This image confirms they took pictures at the restaurant, so maybe she didn't remember, and that's fine. She claims to be drunk at this part in the story. People can vibe while they're drunk. This was after she claimed she was assaulted in the bathroom. I can't help but question if she really felt victimized while at the restaurant. I know at this point in the story, Krissy claims to be drunk. However, instead of letting your only way of transportation know you wanted to go back to your hotel room, you sit with him at a restaurant after he's just assaulted you. In both stories, two different conversations are had the next morning. In Miss Victory's story, she asked Noel why he had sex with her, and his response was, because my friend had slept with you. Noel in his story recounts the pair talking after they have sex, and Ryan is brought up in the conversation. During the conversations we were having, she asked me about Ryan and asked, "Do you think I have a chance with dating him?" I told her probably not because she openly admits to having sex with his friends to him. And her reply was something along the lines of, "So I guess we shouldn't tell him about this." And I said okay, knowing he wouldn't care even if he knew. I can't confirm if these conversations took place. That's for Krissy and Noel to decide. That doesn't excuse the rumors spread about her at Twitchcon. However, I might have an idea as to why Noel may have believed Krissy was lying in the first place. Take a look at this sentence here. Ryan proceeded to call me and told me what happened and that she admitted to it and just told him to let's just leave it alone. Earlier, I talked about Ryan confronting Krissy about her lie, which again was her hiding the fact if anyone else knew about the incident or not. If we assume Ryan didn't mention Krissy's actual lie when he called Noel, thinking said lie was the topic of conversation and not the alleged assault, then it makes sense how Noel would believe she lied about the assault. Noel also made a claim about the reason Krissy lied in the first place. She told him that she did lie about it, so in case he found out, he wouldn't be mad at her and she might still have a chance of being in a relationship with him. That can't be confirmed since it wasn't shown in the chat logs, so my only guess is that it had to be a phone call.
I'm on that Sahara Sunburger dick smell, taking shrooms from a dragon that called me slurs from a nomadic language.
I understand that Noel Brown has a history with his behavior at FGC events. I also understand that Krissy Victory might be another victim of his behavior, but that doesn't give anybody the right to call him a rapist when the only evidence provided are just recounts of events and screenshots from 3 different Twitlongers. Let's just say the FGC decided to come together and say he's guilty based on the evidence provided. It really wouldn't make a difference if he's banned because he's had no impact in the FGC. He's no Justin Wong or Daigo. Those two being banned would cause a massive stir in the community. The people celebrating would be a vocal majority that didn't do jack shit besides like and retweet in support of Krissy. And if I'm gonna be honest, it really doesn't matter if the community thinks he's guilty. It should matter what the law says. At worst, he'll be permabanned from FGC events. Recently, Noel has attended events such as Evo and Danger Room, while Krissy continues to post on social media. It's been 6 years since these events took place, so why hasn't there been a court case yet? Seeing as there's no statute of limitations for rape in New York, she's had more than enough time to follow up with legal activity. Noel even said he'd be willing to take a lie detector test, pay for polygraph examinations, hypnotherapy sessions, and cover half the cost for Krissy to do the same. I really don't feel comfortable throwing labels around unless the shoe fits. Nobody should have a label thrown on them just because of what they do for work or what they've done. Krissy should know that labels tend to stick. Due to her line of work and promiscuous behavior, she has a reputation of being a slut, in her own words. Krissy can claim she was assaulted by a man she barely knew and the FGC tried to cover it up. She can have a bunch of people support her and tell stories about their experiences with Noel Brown. But the reality is, until there's a legal case that proves Noel is the monster she claims him to be, no one should go by confirmation bias and brand Noel as a rapist based off his previous misconduct. It would make more sense if Noel tried to keep Miss Neal at his residence by using her phone as leverage to make her see him again. Instead, he opts to hand over the information Krissy needs to get her phone back and sees her off to Comicon. I'm not excusing his previous behavior either. You shouldn't fight people at events or grope anybody and call it playful. The fighting game community, myself, and anyone else that may come across this story is expected to believe Miss Victory's words when she says, Noel Brown raped me. But there's reasons why that's hard to believe. A lack of evidence that's not just screenshots and Twitlongers, nobody wanting to speak on the topic, along with no court case, makes it extremely difficult to prove anything. Neither of them should expect anybody to go by their own words in a couple of screenshots. No one knows what happened except Miss Neal and Noel Brown. If Noel is guilty, he'll be punished, and in the process, possibly reveal that people involved willingly ignored the entire situation. Seeing as there's been a recent charge against Victor Davila, or open secrets like Mr. Wizard's pool party, it could lead to another mass wave of allegations just like the Smash community in 2020. If Krissy is caught lying, she'll have her entire reputation questioned the moment she decides to come out with future allegations, making it harder for victims to speak out. What I want moving forward is for legal activity to be taken, because no victim should let their abuser walk free if they have evidence that supports their case, and no one should have to deal with false allegations that could potentially ruin their lives. If Noel is still offering to cover half the pay for all of these tests, Krissy should take him up on that offer.
Hey, you know they got your mans. They got your mans on sex assault charges. Yeah, the nigga you be hanging with. And it was your mans. He was your boy.